The Miami Dolphins picked up Tua Tagovailoa's fifth-year option and traded for Jalen Ramsey. A wild weekend down in Miami. Welcome back to Nando Talk. Honestly, guys, it has been truly a special weekend for the Miami Dolphins. The offseason has only just begun. Free agency technically doesn't even start till Wednesday. Monday, players can start making some deals, but Wednesday, officially, things will kick off. And yet, the Miami Dolphins are already making big boy moves. We are freeing up cap space. We picked up Tua Tagovailoa's fifth-year option. That's right. We've got him locked in through 2024, $23.9 million for a quarterback. Beautiful. Bam, bam, bam. And we had a Jalen Ramsey big trade, small cost. What a weekend for the Dolphins, honestly. We got one of the best corners in the NFL. And I can hear the haters now saying Ramsey's washed. This means nothing. Oh, the Bills cook Ramsey. Okay, guys, that's whatever. Fine and dandy. We're talking about Ramsey and Xavier Howard pairing together to create the best cornerback duo in the NFL. We're talking about Jalen Ramsey, who was the fourth rated corner in the NFL last year as well. He went from being the number one corner to the number four. I guess that is a drop off, but he's still a top tier premier coverage kind of guy. You saw the players around the NFL today ranting about it. Darius Slay, Trevon Diggs, when guys like clown analysts were trying to make fun of the Ramsey move. No, they were sticking up for him. They know that this guy's still one of the top dogs in the NFL, and I'm so excited to see them pair together. So even then, for a third round pick, which is pick 77, and Hunter Long, who's an afterthought in our tight end room, apparently, this is a beautiful deal for the Miami Dolphins. Such a cheap move. We're taking advantage of the fact that the Rams are rebuilding right now, and it's amazing. And we'll talk about that Ramsey deal in a second, but let's go in chronological order. Because if you want to talk cheap, let's talk about Mr. Tua first. All righty. Tua Tagovailoa, $23.2 million actually in 2024 is a great payday for a quarterback. My God, when you're looking at what Daniel Jones got, he's getting around $40 million a year. And the Giants themselves said it. If they could have picked up Daniel Jones' fifth-year option, they would have, because it would have been at such a cheap price, and they could have, stalled those big contract negotiations and waited to see if Daniel Jones was the guy or if it was worth paying that big money. So now the Dolphins get that opportunity with Tua. We'll play out this fourth year, and I'm a believer. I do think he's going to ball out. We got the jersey there. But if he doesn't, well, we can move on. We can trade for him. Bada bing, bada bang. We'll work it out. And if he's okay, well, then $23 million is fine for an okay quarterback, and we can still build a beautiful team. But you know what, guys? I think Tua Tagovailoa is going to ball out because we're going to keep building this beautiful team around him. We already got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, all right? And the beautiful part about staying with your QB is what we can do with the QB out of the way, out of our minds, worrying on to more important things. We can address the holes, the things we still have to worry about, like offensive line, that building that O-line for Tua would be beautiful, helping the run game as well, just overall stabilizing our offense and making it more consistent. It was already explosive, but it would just be overall better. Giving Fangio more pieces and more toys. We've already gotten him a beautiful corner, but we can give him more things at linebacker, a little bit more depth at safety, brand new little toys. But talk about one hell of a toy, honestly, man. Jalen freaking Ramsey, a needle mover. Like I've been saying, the fourth highest rated corner in the NFL. You pair him up with Xavier Howard. And man, I kind of talked about it 2 weeks ago. Say Byron's gone. It's Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey time. Talked about how pairing them together gives Miami the best corner duo in the league. But more than that, you get Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey looking at each other and say, look at all these doubters, these naysayers calling us washed, calling us past our time. No, sirree. We're talking about two corners who can regain that former glory, who can look at each other and say, let's push each other. All right. A little Rocky and Apollo style, two old dogs training and grinding it out to get back in shape and be absolutely destructive cornerback forces in this NFL. We're talking about Vic Fangio being able to deploy them in their beautiful positions, play them to their strengths. Yes, did at times Ramsey get beat? Did at times Xavier Howard look a step behind? Sure. But Xavier Howard has always performed best when he has a great running mate like a Byron Jones. We're talking about a guy even better than Byron, maybe even better than X on his best time. They have their different strengths, but they're both dogs. They're both beasts, and that's the best part about this. They get to switch off on players, switch off on assignments, best suited for that play, for that game, that week, whatever it may be. It's all going to be matchup based for those two guys as they play to their strengths. And that's going to be a big part. We've already seen what McDaniel playing to the strengths of our offense has done and making it a top 10 offense. And we know Fangio is going to do the same thing. He has his overall scheme. He has his idea, but he is going to put our players in the best position to succeed. And having Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey at cornerback position takes a load off of our mind. Now we have this amazing secondary to work with, so many toys. We even have Cater Gahu now coming back, and we can talk about a little bold takes, and I'm sure everyone's making them, but I'll make it as well. Cater Gahu is going to be the best slot corner in the NFL next year. We're talking about a guy with, you talk about hunger, that dog in him. This is a corner who's an undrafted free agent out of Texas A&M Commerce, the UDFA Division II. Okay, he has had to fight and earn for everything. And now with two guys like Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey to keep coaching him up, with Sam Madison to keep beefing him up. Yes, Cater Gahu, best year of his career. Short career, of course, but we're talking about best slot corner in the NFL, potentially, at the very least, the slot corner for the best secondary in the NFL. Javon Holland, going to be a beast of a safety in that Fangio system. And Brandon Jones coming back from injury. He looks awesome, ready to return. Trill Williams also looking fine, can provide some nice size in the right situations at 6 foot, 200 pounds. And we haven't even talked about free agency or the draft, where we can continue to address with it, man. But with the Dolphins, we already have, let's say we don't even add anyone else. And that's not true. We're going to talk about draft and free agency in a second and what we can continue adding to this offense and this defense. But let's focus on the Dolphins we have right now. You're going to have Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey pushing each other in the same way that Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle push each other, right? Right? And then when that's done, and then offense and defense gets to practice against each other, and you have McDaniel's offensive mind versus Vic Fangio's defensive mastery. You talk about iron sharpens iron, man. Shout out JD Fins fan for this little tidbit, but diamond sharpens platinum, baby. I don't know about the logic, but JD, it's a great quote, man. And I'll roll with it, man. Diamond sharpens platinum. Okay. We're talking about two beautiful substances of high caliber, high worth, hard as heck. And they're going to sharpen each other, man. We're talking about, I think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are the best wide receiver duo in the NFL. They were showing that last year with 3,000 yards together, 1,700 for Tyreek, 1,300 for Jalen Waddle. And now they get to play against Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard week in, week out, sharpening each other up, keeping each other on their toes. My God, it's going to do wonders for Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey to round back into form. Talking about tough challenges, that's the toughest challenge you're going to play all year, okay? And they're going to do it together, battle tested. And it's going to do wonders for Tyreek to keep him focused and in shape, hungry as well. Hopefully Ramsey and Tyreek, that little tidbit scuffle they had at the little Pro Bowl, that means nothing, but whatever, was flag football game, you get over it. But the wonders it'll do for Jalen Waddle's development as well, beautiful, absolute, masterful. And I'm excited for that as well, man. My God, we're going to see them become the best version of themselves, and they're just going to keep pushing each other. And that's going to in turn cause everyone else on the roster to continue to elevate, because top tier competition just breeds excellence. Everyone wants to follow suit. No one wants to fall behind. Everyone's going to be sharp on their toes. I'm even excited for games. I'm obviously excited for games. What I mean to say is I'm even excited for training camp. Okay, I'm excited to go to those open practices. I have the battles of getting to see Xavier Howard, Jalen Waddle against Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey. Yes, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous, and I want to see it. All options, all facets of it, man. My God. The rest of the team gets to step up as well. You're talking about Tua gets to battle that defense as well. Granted, he's got the great weapons, but he's got the awesome defenders against him. He's got the great mind of Fangio to battle against. It's going to raise him as well. It all goes hand in hand. But I know what you're saying. Okay. The window is now. We have to win. But what if we don't? Oh no, the gloom starts to come in. Have no fear. No need to worry. Yes, we've pushed the contracts back, but a lot of it can come out of it in 2025. And we still freed up money, man. Tyreek reworked his salary to $18 million. Chubb and Armstead reworked for another $11 million. It was about like $29 million net gain. And then Ramsey comes in. I know he has a $25 million cap hit from the Rams, but trust in Grier. If there's anything we've been seeing this offseason, my man can make some magic happen, especially on the contract-wise, trade-wise. My man knows his stuff with the players, okay? And we could talk about the draft as well. We're about to talk about free agency, but the draft, my guy can hit it as well. Chris Grier, okay? Let's see him rework that contract with Jalen Ramsey and create some more money. Okay, if you got to push that further back to 2025 like everyone else, sure. We'll worry about that when we get there, okay? The window is now over this year, next year. The next 2 years, we have to win a Super Bowl. I'm down for it. I'm saying it. Some people want to, some people don't. We got to win a Super Bowl. We're going to, because we're going to keep making moves, okay? Yes, we have a league low 4 draft picks, okay? We have the 2nd round pick. We have the still a 3rd rounder with pick 84. We've got a 6th rounder, pick 198, and a 7th rounder, pick 24. Pick 240, but we still can snipe some quality players, okay? The first thing to do, though, is free agency, okay? We still have a couple of holes, maybe not the most glaring things now that there was some concern about secondary. I don't think there's any now. Maybe we want to still add a 3rd safety to complement Brandon Jones and Javon Hall and do something that they can't do, something fresh to the table and solidify this already beautiful secondary. But I think maybe the priority first is going to be linebacker, okay? If I can get a veteran, that's awesome. Okay, linebacker, offensive lineman, running back, safety, those will all be fine. But a veteran linebacker like a Bobby Wagner or a Levante David, I think is priority number 1 in free agency. And maybe, or the draft. Maybe even the draft, even if we go in free agency. But first things first, if a Bobby Wagner, who was ranked 30th in the NFL at overall players, who was released by the Rams because, again, they are purging their roster. They got a clean house to get under the salary cap. If we can get him to come to the Dolphins, that's gorgeous. Get Jalen Ramsey to say, hey, man, I moved to Miami. It's looking very well here. That's looking like another Super Bowl caliber team and another Super Bowl caliber move. Bobby, why not get yourself another ring? It didn't work out for you in LA, but come over to Miami. It's a lot better down here. And maybe Mr. Wagner can do a nice friendly move for us, and that'd be beautiful. And we're talking about a veteran linebacker who can coach up Channing Tindall, who can solidify the middle of this defense and be that little bridge between our D line, our front 4, and our secondary, and just absolutely command this defense. We get the Super Bowl caliber champion captain, and nothing would make me happier. Coach up Channing Tindall to unlock his potential. And my, oh my, you've got a beautiful linebacking core, completely revamped, and dare I say, the best defense in the NFL. And I think you can do that as well with Levante David, another veteran. He looks like is going to be moving on from the Buccaneers. No real connection with the Dolphins, except he is already in Florida. It's just another drive down south. And come on, let's be real. Miami is way nicer than Tampa. The biggest allure to the Buccaneers was Tom Brady, and he's gone. So if they're going to be splitting up, if the end is breaking up now that the main singer is gone, well, come over to Miami. We're a nice and a rock, and we've got ourselves a beautiful orchestra because we play a symphony of beautiful football down here on offense and defense. And Levante David could also bring his experience as a veteran and as an athletic linebacker and allow Channing Tindall to say, hey, man, I've been where you've been. You've got out the athletic pieces. You want to put it all together to work in the NFL. Let's do it. And he could activate him as well. One of those 2 veterans, I think, are my priority linebackers. Heck, my priority free agents in general. I'd be down for a Drew Tranquill or a Kaiser White. Both are great coverage linebackers, which presents another beautiful aspect of the Dolphins defense that we currently lack. And that's really what I want right now. When we're talking about toys for Fangio and we're talking about adding pieces to this Dolphins team that's already a beautiful roster, we got to look for things that we're missing, okay? Not maybe things that complement, but things that also areas we lack that we would love to have a difference maker there. A true pass coverage linebacker is something we don't have. And while I want a thumper, I want an all-around guy, a guy like a Bobby Wagner or Levante David, who I think can be in coverage and stop the run. You can't understate the fact that Drew Tranquil and Kaiser White would be a little cheaper and they could still, wow, cover in that middle area and really bring another facet to the Fangio defense. So it's something to watch for. I trust Vic to do what needs to be done. He's got the right head for it, and he's ready to rock and roll. Now, as for other positions, we could look at tight end, maybe go for a Dalton Schultz. I'm not sure. He's a bit of a pricey guy. Foster Moreau is a bit of a cheaper, good blocker. Those are the two ends of the spectrum. Evan Ingram, Hayden Hurst, they lie somewhere along the middle. I'm not sure what the logic is for McDaniel and John Embry there, if they're going to go with Durham Smythe as the guy, or if they want to go for someone in free agency. I'd prefer someone a little bit on the cheaper end, not as cheap as maybe Foster Moreau, although he's a very good snag. Maybe on someone on the Ingram, Hayden Hurst end of things, but any one of those three guys could be more of my line. At the end of the day, as long as they're a good blocker, an okay receiver, that's all we really need. It's just more the fact that Hunter Long is gone, and we don't really have any options there besides Smythe. Unless we bring back Mike Gesicki on the cheap, but he still can't block unless he learns. Ooh. Don't get me riled up. If we are going to focus on offense, though, and in free agency, I'd rather go for someone in the offensive line aspect of things. Hit that tackle spot, man. Granted, maybe we can get a guard or a center in free agency a little easier. Maybe probably in the draft if we're going to go interior offensive lineman. But right tackle in free agency is such an important spot to hit. Yes, we got Teron Armstead last year, and as well, I loved shoring up the left side. Tua is a lefty, so the right side is his blind side. I need someone better than Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg competing. If they're going to fight for spots, if that's what Grier wants to do, let them fight for that left guard position. Okay, I want at least I want at least a McGlinchey kind of guy out of San Francisco, someone who knows McDaniel's scheme and who can perform well enough there. If not, let's get one of those top end guys. Yeah, I've talked about Taylor Lewan in the past. He does have his injury concerns. He's not a top end guy. He'd be cheaper. But getting a top end guy like Orlando Brown, if he does leave the Chiefs somehow, going for those premier tackles would do wonders for the Miami Dolphins. Okay. Anything you can do to address the offensive line to minimize the question marks there would go a long way. Maybe we can get a center, a guy like Ben Jones. I know Connor Williams performed very well at center last year, but kick him back to his natural position at left guard and hey, get a real center and you still shore up this offensive line. Then you are only asking Eichenberg and Austin Jackson to work at right tackle. Or maybe you get that position in the draft as well. Running back is someone who I think I'm fine bringing back Mostert or Jeff Wilson, maybe even both. It all depends if we can improve the offensive line. I think is priority number one, and that'll improve our running game. But maybe we get someone like crispy Kareem Hunt. Tyreek Hill does have that connection with Kareem Hunt from their Chiefs days. And if he convinces him, a la, Ramsey talking to Bobby Wagner, maybe Tyreek Hill talks to Mr. Kareem Hunt and goes, hey, come down here, run. McDaniel will put you in some gorgeous situations and you'll crack 1,000 yards easily, bro. And we'll be a thriving down here. That could be awesome. Besides that, there are a lot of running backs who were franchise tagged, and we can maybe get Derrick Henry or Dalvin Cook seem to be the only guys with Tennessee and Minnesota trying to move on from them, either trying to reload or they're having cap issues. Derrick Henry is asking for a first, second rounder. I think that's a little too expensive. And honestly, he has a big contract, a big cap hit. So does Dalvin Cook. If we're going to go for a running back, I'd rather hit them through the draft. And there's so many beautiful options, honestly. 13 running backs with around 3 grade or higher in this draft. That means Round 3 or higher is guys you can start day 1. A lot of running back talent to be had. So I'm down for it, man. If we can hit running back, there's some great options in the draft. Okay, maybe third round, but that's pick 84. We go for a guy like Devon A-Chain, Tank Bigsby, Dwayne McBride. Any of those top running backs who are still there in the third round could be a master class and a true runner for Mr. Mike McDaniel. But talent is going to fall. Okay, guys are going to slip. I think Jahmyr Gibbs won't be there in the second round. But if he is, I don't even want to put the tinfoil hat on because I think that's just a run to the board. Bada bing, bada bang. Make these the speed demon, the track meet. This offense would be ridiculous with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, an improved offensive line, Tua and Jahmyr Gibbs. My God, the possibilities. But even one of those guys in the third round, like A-Chain, Bigsby, or McBride, McDaniel could squeeze so much out of them. And I would love other runners in the class like Zach Charbonnet. I don't think he'll be there. Great back out of UCLA, 6'1", 220. I don't think he'll be there in between our picks unless we reach for him at 52, although I think that'll be a little high. But who knows? Maybe we trade down if Campbell, Darnell Washington isn't there. Gibbs isn't there. We trade down and we get Zach Charbonnet. That'd be pretty awesome. He's a big boy, bruising back, and he'd be an absolute workhorse for the Miami Dolphins. Barring those top guys, though, even in that 6th round, maybe in the 7th round, you can still find some good runners, man. In the 6th round, I would want someone like Keaton Mitchell out of ECU. There is Eric Gray out of Oklahoma. He's a nice option, but Keaton Mitchell with that 4.37 speed, the third fastest running back in this draft class. My God, Keaton Mitchell out of ECU. This kid can run, so fluid, a great athlete, a little bit of an undersized guy, but I think he can do it at the next level. And if McDaniel thinks so, that's all we need. And at the end of the day, it's his running back eye that I'm really excited about. At the end, like, his offense, his genius is clear. He can do some wonders with the QB, but running is his bread and butter. And he didn't maybe have the right conditions to employ his true running game last year. Give him a good runner, improve that offensive line, and watch this man go to work. That's what I want to see. I want to see a young guy in the draft, if anything. So there we are, man. With all those pieces, all those moves in mind, how can you not be excited to be a Miami Dolphins fan right now? Last offseason got our blood a pumping. March 23rd, we got the Toronto Armstead news, and we traded for Tyreek Hill shortly after there. And bada bing, bada bang, we had one of the most fun Dolphins seasons we've seen in a long time. But now we're making even more moves. People were counting us out. We just got Jalen Ramsey. We still have free agency to make moves. We still have some draft picks to snipe and make some good options, okay? If in the second round we can hit on the right picks after some great holes filled in free agency, this is a team that can get better and better. And dare I say, make the Super Bowl. At the very least, be Super Bowl caliber. Go in, week out, with confidence in our hearts, fire in our bellies, knowing that the Dolphins can compete and hang with anyone. Last year, at the height of this team, we already got to see that. This year, an even better team in year 2 of Mike McDaniel, in year 1 of Fangio, but with brand new system, brand new coverages, a brand new fresh perspective to re-energize and reorganize this defense, with Ramsey coming into the fold. And I'm telling you, some future Finns along the way, and I'll make videos when they come out. We are building the perfect team. We are finishing the last piece of the puzzle, getting everything together. And once it's done, we are going to have a Super Bowl picture this year or next. But this year is what I'm believing in, man. We'll go there for that Super Bowl in Vegas, have that perfect team. And that's the best way to do it. Build a perfect team. Yes, there might be still that fear about Tua. Take it out of your mind. We're going to build such a disgustingly gorgeous team. And of course, address backup quarterback, that this team will be there in Las Vegas for Super Bowl, no matter what, barring a natural disaster. So we're there for it. We're in there like swimwear, and I'm fired up to see what this Miami Dolphins team can do. But let me know in the comments what you think is left. What final puzzle pieces the Miami Dolphins need to put down so we can achieve the glory, get to that Super Bowl. Thank you for tuning in. I'm fired up now. I'm going to play a little Retro Bowl. If you haven't seen that series, check it out. I'll put the playlist right here. It's a fun time. I play as the Miami Dolphins, so it's pretty cool. And we'll have some mock draft Monday later. I think I'm posting this on Monday. So, hey, mock draft Monday, check that out as well. Fun time indeed. And of course, a tinfoil hat Thursday. We saw a little bit of it today, but on Thursday, we let it loose, let it fly with the tinfoil hat talk. Thank you for tuning in. This has been an awesome Nando talk. I'm fired up for the future of the Miami Dolphins. Let me know how excited you guys are. But without further ado, thank you for enjoying this video. I'm going to get away to editing and cleaning it up. Bada bing, bada bang. Fins up, chins up. Thanks for watching Nando Talk, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Thanks.